Welcome! In this video, we'll be taking a look at my 10 favorite games released in 2021. So 2021 is officially over, and according to my board game app, I've had 536 plays from 85 different games this year, but only 31 were labeled as being released in 2021 by Board Game Geek. So from those 31 games, these are my favorite 10 games that I enjoyed playing either solo or with my game group. As for caveats of this list, I purchase all my games, so these are games that I buy assuming I'm going to like already. My game group has similar taste, so I tend to gravitate towards games with a IP that I enjoy, sometimes fantasy. And they'll usually be either deck building games, card management, rolling dice, and or moving miniatures across the board, although I'll play almost anything that comes to my game group. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Coming in at my number 10, this is a dice rolling game with dudes on the map, and that is Space Marines Adventures Doomsday Countdown. This is a cooperative game for 1 to 3 players in which you control a squad of Space Marines and you're on a mission to save an Imperial Hive city from a horde of Chaos cultists. You'll be moving through a corridor of tunnels, fighting off cultists in an effort to deactivate a Doomsday device, then escape back to the city. The game comes with a total of 10 miniatures, 3 Space Marines and 7 Chaos cultists. You do need to put them together, and if you're inspired, paint them. I like the quick setup and short gameplay and simple rules set, rolling dice and using gear cards to assist your fights with an AI controlled by action cards. Fun quick game with great miniatures and dice play. My number 9 and number 8 are different IPs but have similar game mechanics, and I had a hard time picking which one was better than the other. Right now they are super close, but it came down with my number 9 going to Transformers, the deck building game. This is a deck building game for 1 to 5 players that can be played solo, cooperatively, or competitively. So far, my experience with the game has only been solo and co-op. In the core game, you will play as Autobots exploring through a matrix, looking for allies and technology, and occasionally getting ambushed by Decepticons. Just on a side note, expansions are supposed to bring in playable Decepticons, which should boost competitive play. Things I like about this deck builder is your characters have 2 sides. One side, you're an Autobot, which is better at fighting, then your vehicle side, which is better at moving around the grid. Even though I wasn't a big fan of the Transformers cartoon series, I've had a lot of fun with this game. And my number 8, that you probably guessed, which beat out Transformers because of nostalgia for me, is the G.I. Joe deck building game. This is a cooperative or solo deck building game for 1 to 4 players and has brought back many memories of my youth watching the cartoon and playing with the toys. In this game, you team up to take on the forces of Cobra and complete missions to thwart their plans. I like the combination of deck building along with the rolling dice, but one con of this game is the dice can really make or break your missions. I like more mitigation, but that's my only issue. I love the hangar mechanic where you need to choose your vehicle for each mission, and that will determine the number of Joes that can join the mission, and depending on that mission, will give you bonuses if you have the right vehicle. A solid game that I hope to see expand. And for my number 7, this is a second addition to a game that I really enjoyed. Glad it's back out for print, and that is Tyrants of the Underdark, the board game. This is a competitive deck building game and area control game for 2 to 4 players, but Michael Kelly from over at the One Stop Co-op Shop has made a great solo variant, which you can find the rules for at Board Game Geek. In this game, each player leads a house of Drow or Drow, and you try to position yourself to gain the most victory points. You'll use your influence to gather allies and use your power to manipulate minions around the board. I'm typically not a huge fan of area control games, but the integration with the deck building really caught my attention. Also love the options of culling your deck. Cards will get you more victory points if they're cold, but definitely more powerful in your hand, so finding the right time to lose those powerful cards for points will be key. A great deck building game and area control game. Next on my list at number 6 is Marvel United, the X-Men edition. This is a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players or competitive with up to 5. I don't know why I really enjoy this game so much. Just looking at it, looks like it should be an average game, but every time I play, I always have a great time. The mechanics are simple, the miniatures are awesome, and using your powers to tackle threats and working with other players to help set them up for a great turn has been a blast. While having only a core set might get stale quick, there are plenty of existing expansions out there to add to variability and many more expansions on the way. Then coming in at number 5 is my smallest game in this list. This is ShadowHunters Swords of the Coin. It's a standalone expansion for ShadowHunters, which is a card-driven and dice manipulation game for 1 to 4 adventures, where you set camp and then hunt down a horde of unhallowed creatures to save the kingdom. One of the neat things about this game is this game box turns into your game board, which you'll use to hold your cards, take actions, and track your campfire, which lights your way as you fight your enemies. Every turn you keep one hero back to watch camp, taking action to hopefully keep your fire lit and make the fight against the horde of enemies a bit easier. This version also introduces items you can purchase for your heroes to assist in battles. It's a great puzzle game with card and dice mechanics, tons of fun in a small box. Then getting down to number 4 on my list, which is a fantasy campaign game for 1 to 4 players, Wild Assent. This game is for 1 to 4 players, which has solo, player versus player, and co-op modes. I've only played the solo and co-op, but in this game, your party of seekers will set out into a wild hunt to battle creatures and capture some to return for trade. Once done with your battles, you'll return to your encampment to heal, craft weapons, sell creatures, hire workers, and upgrade your buildings. Really enjoyed the campaign, fighting creatures, deciding the best tactics to either kill or capture so you can limit your wounds, so you don't always fully heal before going to the next hunt, and then returning to the encampment to level up. A great game, and looking forward to the upcoming 2nd edition and expansions for this game. So getting down to the top 3 games, this next one had a bit of controversy coming out because it had such a limited release and sold out quickly, but they have confirmed that it will be getting reprinted, coming out soon, hopefully, and that is Warhammer Quest, The Cursed City. This is a cooperative campaign game for 1 to 4 players based in the world of Warhammer. It's my first taste of playing a Warhammer Quest-style game, and I must say I've enjoyed the game and looking forward to many expansions. Cursed City, your party is based in the decaying city of Ulfenkarn. You're trying to take down the undead tyrant Radukar the Wolf. There are several different types of journeys to take, but your ultimate goal is to work your way through the lieutenants, then make your way to a final battle against the wolf himself. So after unboxing, it is a bit intimidating, all the miniatures that you need to put together, and they scream to be painted. With that out of the way, the components are all top-notch, and I love the mechanics of the game. It's all action-based, which each character uses dice rolls to see their options and whether they allow them to do basic actions, or each character has more powerful actions they can take. AIs are controlled by also rolling dice, so that's going to be variable. While each character starts at level 0, and the enemies are fairly easy when you get started. As you level up, more monsters start coming out and increasing your threat, and then the lieutenants make multiple attacks against your hero. That's never a good thing. As you take damage, you have less dice available for actions, so for me this has been a great game to play, and I look forward to more plays here in the near future. Number 2 on this list is a 2nd edition of a card-driven engine builder type game similar to Machikaro and Space Base, and that is Valeria Card Kingdoms. This is a competitive game for 1 to 5 players, or with a Darksworn expansion can be played cooperatively. As dukes or duchesses, you will be slaying monsters, recruiting citizens, and expanding your domain to defend the kingdom. On every turn, the active player rolls 2 dice, and each player will gather resources from their citizens based on the number rolled and the sum of those dice. You will then use gold to recruit more citizens, strength to slay your monsters, and magic to supplement those 2 resources as needed. Currently, all my plays have been solo and co-op, but I need to get some competitive plays in, and I must say I'm a huge fan of the art in this game. The game itself is easy to teach and a lot of fun to play. And now to my favorite game released in 2021, and the only one on the list that is not a solo option. And this is a retheming of a game previously released in 2008 based on the sci-fi series Battlestar Galactica, and this is Unfathomable. I was anxiously awaiting this game and had high hopes for the game, and needless to say, my number 1, it delivered for me. This is a team game for 3 to 6 players based in the world of Arkham Horror, in which one team is trying to safely get the steamship SS Atlantica to Boston, while the hybrids and cultists on the ship are trying to sink the ship to the bottom of the ocean. The caveat of this game is you don't know what team the other players are on, and you might even change teams halfway through the game. This is one of the very few games that takes hours to play that I just don't mind. As on every person's turn, you must stay engaged. What did they do? That seems suspicious. Are they the traitor? Why are 3 negative cards in the challenge? Who played those cards, and what cards could they have played? Always a blast to play, and the game has created some of the most memorable game moments I've ever had. Love the game so much, I even had to spice up the miniatures and give them a paint job. So those are my favorite games of 2021. There's a list of all the 2021 games I played this year in the description below, so you can see how they worked for me, and let me know your favorite releases of the year for yourself. And as always, hope you enjoyed this video, so please click on the like button below, and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.